And next up is a roundtable discussion about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, or DEIB, with a focus on women and their roles in it. Our moderator of the discussion is Judith Radnai-Tóth, who is a senior HR consultant at Talent Brand IO and someone who passionately believes in DEIB. That is why she aims to empower organizations to excel in today's competitive talent market. Her partners in the discussion are Anjali Leon from PPL Coach, Viola Petra from Google, and Krisztina Dobos from SAP. Enjoy the talk. The stage is yours. A round of applause, please, for our participants.
Thank you. So welcome. Thank you so much for the introduction. It is a very interesting experience up here because I'm hearing myself in this headset. So good afternoon. My name is Judith Radnai-Tóth, and we are going to talk about a very important topic today, women in tech. And I'm thrilled to be here and talk about this program on stage because I have managed Craft Conference's Diversity Scholarship Program for 4 years and really worked on to make this conference more diverse and more inclusive. So today my guests are Viola Petra, Krisztina Dobos, and Anjali Leon, and we are going to talk about women in tech and how organizations approach diversity, equity, inclusion and belonging. We will also talk about allyship, the role of allyship in promoting gender equity in tech, and also about how each of us as individuals can contribute to promote diversity and equity and inclusion in our community. So let's start with a short introduction. I would like to ask my guests to introduce themselves, and let's just go and start with here with you, Viola.
Okay. Hello everyone, I hope you can hear me. So I'm Viola Petra, I'm a software engineer by education. I have more than 20 years of experience in the domain, and I spent about the last more than 10 years leading, managing engineering teams. At the moment, I lead the software development team on Google Cloud AI in Budapest. We have recently formed quite a significant engineering team in Budapest, so it's really exciting to work right now on the cutting edge of AI with this team.
Thank you so much.
Hi everybody, I'm Krisztina Dobos from SAP. So actually I'm happy to see girls here. I'm also a girl in IT, but I'm not from IT at all. I'm from the human resources side of the house. And of course, I also bring some experience, so 20 years on my end as well, but more on the people side of the story. But of course, diversity, inclusion is definitely in the middle of my heart, and I'm happy to discuss this today with all of you.
And I'm Anjali Leon. I'm an agility and product leadership coach based in Tampa, Florida in the US. And I run a little boutique coaching and consulting practice. So I'm a solopreneur, not part of a large company like the two of you. But I started out as a technologist. I was a software engineer for 18 years before I shifted to being really enjoying the people puzzles and the people patterns and became a coach. And I'm really happy to be here today.
Thank you so much. So let's start with the organizational approach to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. From Viola, from your side, I would like to really know that what kind of approach your organization have on this area.
Yeah, as I was preparing for this, like there's so many things going on in this area. So a couple of things that I would highlight is since 2019, actually, Google is publishing their diversity report. I think from around that time, there's been an increasing focus on diversity and inclusion, and within the company. And one of the most significant things that we're doing globally is the bias, unconscious bias training, and something that we had added on top of that, the bias busting workshops, which are really fun actually to do. And something that we do locally is actually encourage local events, like sponsoring this event or sponsoring the diversity initiatives, local diversity initiatives like Women Tech Makers Budapest, the We Are Open organization in Budapest, we are doing that, and also the school organization is something that we have supported since the start, since they started. Yeah, I mean, and I think there's this global, local, and there's a continuous focus on hiring diversity candidates. So there's special incentive structures put in place for our recruiting teams to make sure that we are not forgetting about diversity in our hiring process.
Thank you so much. What about SAP? What is your approach to this area?
Well, it's quite difficult to put it into a very few minutes, but I'm really proud of what the company is trying to achieve end to end. I would say we have at least three sides of this story. One is definitely the workforce diversity. Other one is the closest to me, workplace inclusion. And the third is what we are doing outside the door. So basically on the market, being responsible in this topic. So of course, workforce diversity, as already inclusive hiring is mentioned by Viola Petra. This is a very important, but not only hiring female colleagues, hiring diverse way. This is not the only thing, but we also need to look at what is happening with all of us when we are already at the company. So the whole employee life cycle is becoming very important. For example, I am looking at right now with the Business Women Network, so with employees standing by next to me and the leadership team, to what is going on with the career progression, what is going on with female colleagues becoming experts or even managers if this is their direction. Of course, we need to think about succession as well, etc. So it's really a very nice topic with a lot of goals, concrete goals to be set, and to follow up if we succeed in these areas. As I said, workplace inclusion is the closest to my heart, with all the events and all the initiatives, of course, and I think this is a modern workplace cannot exist without this, right? I'm not just thinking of the events we are doing, but also the whole framework. So it's very important that we have enablement and training program for everyone, for all the colleagues, and especially, of course, for all the leaders. So, for example, we are running D&I learning programs, also inclusive mindset challenges if you are looking for something fresher, something lighter than a training. And of course we have mandatory things, so we are really serious about this. So we have the anti-discrimination training for everyone. We have gender transition guidelines, helping a lot to colleagues. I'm concretely supporting a case today, and this is really an experience. And I'm happy to share later on. And of course, I love the colorful events we have as well, naturally. But it's not only my job, but it's really partnering with the employees, with the employee network groups, like I already mentioned, the Business Women Network, or the Pride team we have locally. So it's absolutely fantastic. They even have ideas where we, the HR team and the leadership team, work together. For example, we are analyzing the already mentioned data together and looking for improvements, but we are also realizing ideas like additional vacation days or Bring Your Children to Work program. We also established a parent-child room in the office. If somebody needs to bring in the child for a few hours or for a full work day, it is possible. So we really try to think of a wide range of different initiatives to support everyone, because I think it's most of the ideas are not only for women or girls, it's really for all of us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's really a lot of programs, and it's great that you have so many initiatives targeting diversity and inclusion. Anjali, you as a coach, I guess you worked with many organizations.
Yes.
and so quite a lot of programs working. What are the most outstanding?
So it's funny, I work with a lot of small and medium-sized companies, and it's unfortunate that there aren't similar programs like what you both shared from SAP and Google. I think the community can really make a difference. So I noticed a similar lack of programs available for women, either who are solopreneurs or working in small companies. So in 2015, I started a Women in Agile group, as a matter of fact, in our local community, just recognizing that women didn't fully participate in larger activities that were happening within the community. So this was a forum for them to kind of boost and create a launching pad and a network and mentorship within that group to be able to participate more actively in other events. But we were able to partner with some larger organizations who are looking for women candidates for recruitment, getting ideas on how to bring women into the organization. So the partnership between the community that I created and the large organizations really, worked really well.
Thank you so much. And of course, this work is not only an organizational task. All of us as individuals have something to do with this, and really to make our community, our teams, our groups more diverse, more inclusive, and so I would like to learn a little bit more about your personal stories. So how did you end up here? What shaped your careers, as you are all women working in the tech industry?
Should I start? I was thinking about this. Actually, it's really funny that as I'm thinking back of who are the role models, who were the role models in my career that I looked up to, in terms of what could I achieve in this domain. I remember very fondly of my first manager, who was also a woman, and I looked up to her very much. Actually, at the very start, at the beginning of my career, I didn't think that diversity was actually a big problem. Maybe I was, too naive to start with, but very much when going into this career, then I didn't think it was going to be a problem at all. And for a long time, it wasn't actually. So I think that if there was one thing that I took with myself, is that something that propelled my career were occasions where I was able to stand up for myself, to stand up for an idea, and actually gather people, rally people to make something happen together. So those were the times that actually mattered a lot, and I was able to achieve something big, and actually brought my career forward.
Thank you so much, Krisztina. Not as an engineer, but also as someone who works in the tech industry. But how did you get there?
Yeah, so as a female in the tech industry, so definitely. My journey started somewhere, and I have to say, if you ask me 20 years ago, I would never ever have believed that I would sit on this stage as the HR director of a company of 1,600 employees locally. So that's huge. So when I started, I had no dreams like that, no expectations like that at all. And when I was thinking about this question, I said, okay, how did I get there really? And I realized there were kind of changing moments in my life, in my career, when actually, if I think back, I never believed that I can do it. And this was a huge learning for me, also as a female, I have to say, because I also see on my peers that they reacted the same way. When I was offered to step into HR business partner, supporting just one part of the company many years ago, I said, yes, I have my fresh diploma in my pocket. What a great opportunity. I actually started to search for a job at another company because I thought I need to get experience in HR. And they said, no, you don't go anywhere. We give you a job here. You are working here since 4 years. You know us, we know you. You will learn what you need. And I was totally surprised because I thought, okay, I need to have everything ready in my CV to get this job, right? And they said, no, you can also learn a lot of things. And the qualities, the values you bring and the experience you already have with the organization versus much more to us. And I didn't know this. I was very surprised about this. And after that, a couple of times it happened that I couldn't dream that big because I thought I am not able to do it. It's bigger than what my capabilities. So we don't need to be afraid. That's what I wanted to say, that we need to be braver than what we think. And yes, we can achieve what we want. It's just a matter of trust. We need to trust the people around us who can support us, who we can learn from, and it will be it.
Yeah. Thank you. And Anjali, what shaped your career? What experiences had an effect on that career?
So for me, I started out in technology because I absolutely love math. I was a math geek, and I think I would have become a math professor if they paid better. So engineering paid better, and I was able to fill in that role very nicely. I started out in India, where I think engineering and medicine are, highlighted as careers, so it was a natural fit that I moved to the United States actually in the middle of my engineering career, and then continued there and absolutely enjoyed being in technology. I worked in software for 18 years, enjoyed it, moved up to director of product management, and at the same time we were implementing some agile ways of working at our job. And it was something that absolutely resonated with me. Even throughout my engineering career, I found myself mentoring other people, really enjoying the people side of things. I found myself the glue in the team. And here I had an opportunity to work in technology from another perspective that really that resonated with my energy and my, the direction that I wanted to go in. So at 18 years in, I pivoted. I didn't know how I was going to make that pivot. I actually resigned from a very lucrative position with people that I absolutely loved to follow this instinct. And here, 10 years later, I have my own independent practice. I would say I defined, at that point in time, I defined what success meant for me. And technology, in fact, and maybe in the other question that'll come up, helped me actually get there. And I see there's so many other opportunities for women to be in technology and not necessarily as a software engineer. We often think about women in tech as being software engineers, but there's so many other areas which maybe really resonate with women. So not to be afraid of technology. There's many ways in which you can contribute, and in fact, you're needed. I can see that as a coach. I could see that as an engineer. But so technology has shaped where I am today, and I'm happy I started there. It's given me a lot of opportunities.
Thank you so much. And let's continue a little bit and talk a little bit about the individual contributions we all should take to make this industry and the world around us more inclusive. What do you think should we do as individuals to really make our teams, our community more inclusive, more diverse?
So, if I may start, so I think that at the individual level, and maybe I'm preaching to the choir here, actually looking at the audience, I think that the most important thing is to listen to one another. And as maybe leaders or individuals on the team, you may enable that listening, the active listening, to make sure that when somebody speaks up, then we actually hear them out. What do they have to say? And assume that whatever they wanted to say was important, and sort of trying to get away from interrupting each other. Maybe it's even harder with the Zoom calls or video calls nowadays to interject. So yeah, maybe just beyond not interrupting, actively soliciting the opinions of each participant in a conversation. To me, that's the most important fundamental thing.
Thank you. What do you think, Krisztina?
It's hard to say anything after this because you really hit it, I think. When I think about allyship, I also think about learning a lot. So I think it's mainly about learning first. We need to engage, we need to learn from others, then we can really kind of exchange what we can do, and then start to take actions, and that's when we are doing things as well. It is not only managers or leaders in the company, it's everybody basically from this perspective who can do something to shape the environment, to be inclusive and respectful, etc. It needs to be in our DNA, but it's definitely very difficult. We are just on the road to be more and more bias-free. I have really nice examples. For example, there was one hiring manager who actually started to convince female employees to take roles or candidates, and he really wanted to convince them to take a job they were afraid to apply for. Yes. And it's such a nice example that you shared, Anjali, that there are so many different type of jobs within IT that we can really find the best that fits for us and bring everything we are and be everything we want. So it's really the ocean of opportunities in IT today in the world. Yeah. So it's not a question anymore if it's for women or not. So I think it's really, but it starts with individual initiatives and brave statements. The other very nice practice or example is a couple of employees in our company. They learned a lot about unconscious bias, growth mindset, and they came to me and they said, we want to do our own training, full stop. So as of today, we already have SAP Heroes, which is an employee initiative for employees. They received the funding, the sponsorship from the leadership team to train themselves. And now they are training employees on such topics. We are holding like workshops, a workshop series with employees, and they are expanding the whole way of thinking and strengthening the culture with their activities. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So listening, educating ourselves, and educating ourselves about each other. I think really understanding the other people on our teams and their motivations so we can be a cheerleader for them. I find it so valuable to get positive feedback or give positive feedback on what somebody is doing well. As a woman, I don't know if you all resonate, but for me sometimes my confidence is at risk. And I don't get, we don't get enough of that, the feedback from other people of the things that we do well, so that we can do more of it. And I think as a team member, taking those opportunities to do that, I think is huge. And being a cheerleader, for somebody on the team. And then observe what's happening around you. Are there enough women on your team? And then ask the questions. If you're a hiring manager, how many resumes of women are you getting? Can we get to a stage where you're actively seeking an equal number, at least, of candidates? And I love what you said. It's often women need to tick off every item in the box to say that we are, eligible for something. And recognizing that people from the other gender, they don't look to have all of the qualifications. So we are at a disadvantage just getting our foot in the door. So recognizing that is happening and helping women to apply for things at an equitable level as everybody else. I think there's at least lots of things that we can do, but just noticing what's happening around us.
Yeah, I totally agree. Actually, Google has a great program, the I Am Remarkable program, that really help women to self-advocate and really own what they achieved. Yes. That's also, I think, a big step we can do as individuals. This is, I think, the biggest mistake an organization can make is to really think that this is a problem of underrepresented groups, and diversity is, only about underrepresented groups. But it's not true. It's a problem of all of us, and allyship has a huge role in advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion within organizations. So, what do you think? How can really allyship play a role, or do you know any good examples of this, Viola?
Yeah. So just reflecting on what my panel participants were saying on taking a leap to a role that we didn't think we were good enough, or listening and giving positive feedback. I think allies can go a long way to facilitate this process, to actually create those opportunities that maybe the individual doesn't think that they are ready for, but actually offering those opportunities where they arise. And the second thing is just being aware of what a person is doing in their organization or in their circles, so that when the opportunity presents itself, they can vouch for that person, they can actually praise the work of that person or appreciate the work of that person towards other people. Because I think diversity and inclusion is many times it comes down to the circles that and the circles that you are exposed to, and as allies may be exposed to different levels of the organization. I think these are the ways they can represent women or their allies of any gender, really.
Krisztina, what do you think about allyship? Do you have a great program, maybe internally?
Yeah, I think we already touched upon it, that it starts with learning. So we actually offer our employees to learn about allyship and first to learn about the different topics in diversity, because it's very broad, right? So it's not just gender, it's generations, and I can continue for long. But we have, for example, the He for She program or Amplifying Man for Parity. So we have concrete targeted programs to enable, educate a little bit, to learn the basics, to understand each other, because this is the let's say the little bit the problematic part, that sometimes we don't even understand each other, and we have to learn some of the things. However, everybody has a limit as well, and that's somehow I feel that's one of the challenges of the D&I topic, is that everybody has a limit because of sensitivity or personal reasons, and we need to be very aware of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Anjali, what do you think of?
Yeah, I think being an ally as a member of the opposite sex or as women, I completely lost my train of thought. I'll come back to that. Mentorship. How can we be mentors and sponsors for other people? Create more opportunities for them. Understand, maybe they see something of themselves in you, and you can open the door for them. But I've seen what wonderful male allies have done in my circles. That if they are, say, for example, invited to a general panel, they refuse to be on that panel unless there's a woman in there. So observing again what is happening, whether it's a woman or an underrepresented member, how can we create more diversity and actually being able, opening up a chair for another person to take that spot and actively doing that. But sometimes to be an ally, we need to be able to experience what it is like to be part of an underrepresented group. So if you are part of the majority, I say go find an opportunity to go be, participate in a minority group event, if you're welcome, of course, and see what it's like to be a minority in an underrepresented group. I think we can learn a lot about empathy and what somebody else might be experiencing just through that.
And definitely curiosity is a very important aspect, and we really need to be a little bit more curious to understand others, and that can also help. Looking ahead, when we think about the biggest challenges on this area nowadays, what are these? What do you think are the biggest challenges that we should solve and definitely talk about?
May I come last?
Yes. Anjali?
Well, I think that AI has become a big topic of conversation these days, and we can see so much bias in just our understanding of others. And that bias is being programmed into these tools that will become the norm very, very soon. So I think that that's one of the things that we have to really pay attention to. And so our participation, our involvement, our voice to make sure that we are included in this future is so important. So I think embracing technology, embracing your own role as a woman in technology is not only important for your own motivations, but I think for what's to come. We have to step up for future generations to have our voice be a part of it.
Yeah, it's hard to say anything more important than that, but I'm sure that there are other aspects. Krisztina?
Yeah, this is where we should finish. Actually. I was also thinking when you said that we need to be part of the future and the present, of course. Our company is building softwares, and the one important aspect is using AI in everything, of course. I'm working with the people HR softwares and solutions myself as well, and we are trying to use this to improve. So AI we use to improve our language, to improve our own software solutions, to be more bias-free, to really use inclusive language, to really exclude any form of discrimination. But you're right, it's a risky road. It's not so straightforward. So the more we are participating in IT as well, of course, the better it gets. So I'm fully with you. I'm fully with you. The other challenge I said already, I think, is to talk about diversity in the communities and at workplaces as well, in a way that it really comes out as a positive message. I sometimes experience that this becomes already, they say oversharing. It's kind of a trendy thing to say. So we don't need to overshare, but I think what is important is to ensure that, as I said, we understand each other, we learn, we listen to each other, and basically we treat everybody with respect and dignity. And we need to learn about this. We need to pay attention to this. So for me, equality and belonging part of this DIEB is getting more and more important than the D part. So I really go for inclusion and to ensure the respectful environment around me, no matter of what kind of a gender, generation, nationality, cultural diversity we are talking about or we experience. It's all the same. We are all together.
Yeah, thank you so much, Viola.
So nicely put. And I totally agree with Anjali here that actually the especially the recent AI developments do carry a high risk in terms of introducing even more bias or reinforcing the biases that we have in society. I feel that burden very practically every day as working in this domain. So I definitely think that's important. There's another aspect that I was thinking about as preparing for this is that I think that we can't just think about women in tech or diversity and inclusion in tech, but diversity and inclusion in society in general. That's where it all starts, and there's so much to do. Like when. So if we look at any like gender pay gap study or anything that has been published in this area, we definitely see that there's huge gaps and there's more to do. So yeah, from my perspective, it's just realizing this, that we are not done. Like there's many good initiatives, great initiatives, but we are not done, and we need to keep pushing that we create more equal or more equitable society for all of us.
Thank you. And actually, I often hear this oversharing thing that you mentioned, Krisztina. But I think that this is something we just started to talk about. I mean, when we were at school, we never learned about, what diversity is or what inclusion is, and how we should be more empathetic and curious and how we should ask more questions to understand things better before we make a decision. So I think it's never enough. So we really need to educate ourselves and we make people understand that it's an important thing to learn about, because it's about all of us. As a last question, I am curious of your advice because there's a lot of women in our audience, so I'm sure that you have some advice for them, or for anyone who wants to make a career in tech. So what would you advise to these people?
Yeah, if I may. So yeah, my pivotal thing is to stand up for ourselves. I mean, I don't know if this is at all true for the newer generations or the younger generations, but definitely I think there's a side to our education which is telling us or teaching us as young children to conform to the rules, to be obedient and not so much standing up for ourselves. And I think we need to make a conscious effort to actually overcome this and to stand up for ourselves in our careers to reach our goals.
Thank you, Krisztina. What is your?
I hope that everybody who is here already, for you, it's not a question anymore that you can have a career in IT because you are here. So I hope that's already good. Of course, on the way, it's important that you go further. And I think my advice would be to just don't be afraid to show who you are, to give who you are and what you can, and your values, etc. Don't be afraid to show it, and really do that to improve also the community around you. So that's I think a very important message, and I think it can really help companies, but not only companies, but outside workplace, also societies and communities.
And I think your visibility will help other women. So I am really nervous. I was very nervous to be on this panel today. But I realize how important it is when you're invited to a forum like this to show up for the other people in the audience. One of my friends said, if you can see her, you can be her. So as you step into your careers as women in technology, and somebody invites you up on the stage, no matter how nervous you are, say yes, because somebody else might need to see you up here. And one last thing that really helped me, you all are all very young, is to choose your life partner that supports you wholeheartedly. And if you don't find that, stay single.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. We have a few minutes for questions. We actually have one. We have one. What is the best way to give encouragement to colleagues? Who would like to answer that?
Well, I have a recent experience, so how I see it, it's very important from the very first moment to our colleagues that when they turn to us with something that might be a very difficult step for them, from the very first moment are we creating this trusted environment and so that the person can feel that it's safe to talk, it's safe to share, it's safe to ask. And that's listening and yeah, creating this trust. That's the most important for me, I think. To be open.
Yeah, I resonate with that wholeheartedly, and for me it comes through really listening and understanding the motivations of the other person. And sometimes they can't see possibilities for them, but you listening to them and understanding them can show them or can reveal to them what might be possible for them. And that's been my experience with a lot of collaborators that I work with.
I don't know, maybe we take a next question.
Yeah, the next one is any tips on boosting confidence working in a man-dominated work environment?
So this resonates with me a lot.
As someone who works in this environment.
So I think it's just living it by the day, and to me like the most interesting moments when which I think helped boost my confidence were times that there were different ideas being discussed and I hold back my idea because I didn't think it was gonna be good enough, and then the idea was presented, the same idea was presented by somebody else, and everybody got excited about it, and it's just taught me to not be afraid of speaking up at all, and it doesn't really matter. Maybe the idea will be accepted, maybe it wasn't going to be accepted, but just not be afraid of presenting your ideas, presenting your thoughts, and ultimately, this is going to boost your confidence because some of your ideas are going to be accepted and actually implemented across the board.
I was thinking that maybe first the issue is that we don't have the confidence to speak up, right? But experience is really bringing it, because if you first manage to bring your idea to the table and you realize that it's working, they are listening to you, then next time you will be already much more confident. This is one side of the story. The other thing is that use the support, what is available. Coaching, mentoring, talk to people who you trust. I think you don't need to do it alone. That's very important, especially when we are not confident enough. It's good to ask for help, to consult it with somebody, just to talk about it with somebody.
Yeah. And then you can do it by standing up for somebody else. So to provide that confidence that somebody else needs. And sometimes it might feel a little bit easier.
Yeah, but if you listen, as we just talked about this, if you listen to others, then you will see that if someone needs that kind of encouragement and be there and help that person. Okay, we also have another question. thoughts or ideas on the challenges of maintaining and growing D&I in a remote-first culture? It's a tough question.
It is. I think we would be lying if we wouldn't admit that it's definitely more challenging. I think, at least in my experience, I was onboarding different companies during COVID, and it just felt so differently to not be able to meet people, not be able to talk to people. Like your first experience is on a video camera, setting up accounts and administration, stuff like that. And it's just not the best experience to engage in a new community, which is a company. So definitely a lot of challenges. I think in terms of team management, what I did at the time when I was forming a new team in Budapest during COVID was that I just made myself available. Like I opened up a video channel and I let people know that at this time every day you can find me, and I was there. And we would people would come and we would talk about different stuff, day-to-day stuff, just kind of trying to replace the morning coffee or the water cooler water drinking experience with some virtual activity.
We also try to find the right balance, so the opportunities to meet personally as well in the office. So this is of course currently a big question because it is so comfortable, it saves time, etc., to work from home, less stressful, whatever, but of course to meet the colleagues physically, to engage, to learn together, that's also kind of not very easy to be replaced by virtual setting. So one thing is that we try to really keep it personal as well in our company. The other thing is when we are communicating virtually, again, what we all talked about, the role, the importance of listening, being able to listen to each other, that is even higher right now because virtually it's easier not to pay attention, not to listen actively, and you try to do maybe more things at the same time. That's not okay. So we need to remind each other. We need to really pay attention that virtually we also take care.
Anjali, any ideas?
Yeah, I think we have to
that?
just be a lot more intentional about creating those opportunities, like you said, about replacing those water cooler opportunities for conversation that would happen in person. So I've seen where companies have these virtual coffees where people are randomly paired with each other, just to get to know each other a little bit better. One of the places where I'm coaching right now, they have every Friday a campfire, an hour of no work-related stuff. They just either play games together or just do something fun together, and kind of just creates that opportunity for us to really get to know each other. But I think the remote first also opens up, if we just think about women in technology. Women who might want to spend time, have a little more balanced lives, spend more time with their children. Actually, the remote first environment might open up more opportunities for women to participate in technology and might create a little more equity in this space. So it's not all bad, I think.
That definitely needs a different approach
Yes.
to reach that. But thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and experiences. I really enjoyed this conversation, but our time is up, so we have to finish. And thank you so much for the audience for the questions. And thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.